Hi, my name's Emma
Like
from
the
Sydney.
principal's office.
Hi, Emma.
Hey, I just wanted to say, like, your relationship on screen is, I can feel a lot of love coming from that, so you did a really good job. So I'm an MMA fighter, and through acting, I found my passion and purpose in fighting. And I know that your roles are very physical and that you do kind of a lot of your own stunts. So I was just wondering how finding that kind of complement to your acting skills and on screen that has affected your life going forward?
Well, I started as a dancer, so movement has been a huge, if not like the most influential aspect of my life, has been all different kinds of movements, like martial arts and dance. So to be able to utilize them in acting is amazing. To be able to combine those passions is so much fun for me, and I love it. I mean, that's like, I'm so grateful for growing up with that in my life. And just to be able to feel that connection with your body, I think is really powerful. So any kind of, like, whether it's dancing, fighting, whatever, I think it's a really beautiful thing to have that kind of relationship with your body.
Same thing, I grew up a dancer, and then eventually I got into acting, and it does lend you to kind of get these really fun roles. Because I think as a dancer or anybody who does martial arts or something like that, you carry yourself in a certain way, and there's a power that just comes from you physically versus someone who hasn't really been active their entire life. And so you get those roles. I don't necessarily know that we'll ever get like the wafy, completely vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's always a little bit of
ingenue.
Yeah, maybe not, but we can always try. But I think there's a beauty when you walk onto set, because we do have stunt doubles, so it's not a requirement when you do an action show that you need to be able to do your own stunts. But it always helps, and one of the beautiful things is if you have a really great stunt double, they try to mimic you, and being able to add your own influence and flair to what your character does in a fight scene, I think is so important as an actor. And I mean, Kaity does a great job of it because she does a lot of her own stunts. And you can see whoever is doubling her, they do a great job of bringing Kaity's essence to that fight. So you never suddenly go, this is the actor, and this is suddenly the stunt double who's doing this craziness. And then you go back to the actor who's like, ha! Do you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of flows, and I think that's why shows like Legends and Arrow are so great, because a lot of our actors do bring themselves into the physicality because they are very capable of doing their own stunts, and I think that's really important in shows like this one, or like ours, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have some favorite stunts that you've done on your own without a double, like that you've fully completed?
I never had a stunt double in any of my projects other than these shows, which was really weird, but also really nice. But just the amount of work that it is so much work, and a lot of times you're getting to these stunts at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's freezing and it's raining outside, and they're like, okay, you're gonna like run over there, and then all these pipes are gonna fall on you, and you're like, oh, thank God for a stunt double. Like, that sounds terrible right now. But I don't know. Yeah, before I used to just do all my own stunts, and I never had a double. And it wasn't until I came on Arrow and Legends that I ever had a stunt double. And it's mostly because of the pure amount of workload. But also they do some crazy stuff that's like really dangerous. There was one where my stunt double was like riding on the back of the motorcycle. It was like Green Arrow and the Canary, and she had to like jump onto the moving car from the, like, actually.
I remember that scene exactly.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, hey, well, you look great.
You're like, I'll be at the craft table.
Yeah, and she had like a helmet on underneath her wig because it was like, yeah.
What about you?
So the little flare thing, the first time that our characters meet, and they do the like whole silk rope thing. I remember I was like, oh, let me try to pull myself up on this rope thing. And I was like, oh, I'm athletic. And I pull myself and my ass immediately hits the ground. Because I was just like, whoa. So I was very thankful for, it was Atlin who did that one, right? Because she was part of the Cirque, one of the Cirque troops. So she basically did that. And I just remember thinking, if that were me, I would die. Like literally, I would fall 20 feet and die. So there wasn't even an option to do that. I wasn't even like, oh, let me try. It was, no, I'm just dead. But did anybody ever watch Spartacus? Yeah! So Saxa and I had a fight where basically they team off the German rebels with the existing rebels, and we all fight each other, and she and I got paired up. And again, we didn't have any stunt doubles because it's New Zealand. They don't believe in them.
That's not how New Zealand rolls.
No, they're just like, do your own stunts, bitch. And we're like, oh, okay, fine. So yeah, we did our own stunts, and it was this full-on 32 count fight, and we just had to do it over and over again, and we were flipping each other into sand, and I remember like chicken cutlets were flying all over the place, and oh, it was so much fun. But yeah, that was probably my favorite one. And then we also there was a guy who we got to beat up, because that's kind of what the fight was. We were beating up this dude, and I remember I got to fish hook him. Like, I specifically asked if I could fish hook him, and I did, and it was awesome.
Was that the one you also got to stab like 20 times in the neck or something?
That was the flying squirrel monkey, which I also did by myself, which was very fun. Yeah, the things you do in New Zealand, you're not allowed to do in the United States. So there's no way I would have been able to do any of that.
There's a lot that goes on in the Arrowverse. It's a lot to keep up with. If you guys would you go back and change anything in your character's timeline throughout the time that you guys were in Arrow?
I think Sara would have jumped out of the Lazarus pit and been like, Nyssa! And then, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe not die so much, probably. That's all I can really think of.
That's fair.
We have time for a couple more questions if anybody wants to come up.
Oh. By the way, guys, Tamari's the one who was able to make that shirt happen. Yeah. All right. Speaking of New Zealand, you crazy.
This question's for Jess. Katrina.
Tamari and I have been fighting on Twitter for months now. We're still in a fight.
Goes back to New Zealand, eh? So since I haven't watched Arrow, who do you think will win in a fight between Nyssa and Sara?
I don't know. You got to practice?
Yeah. I think it would just be a tickle fight.
No. We'd probably actually like end up just both stabbing each other at the same time.
Yeah,
and then,
I think so.
Dying. That seems like the very Arrow, Sara thing that would happen. We would be like just shanked at the same time and then die and be like, oh, sorry. I love you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think at one point Nyssa probably would have won, but then Sarah's gotten so good that, I don't know, she might even be better at this point because you've fought different.
Yeah, and I have like all that new tech stuff too, so.
Oh, hey!
Hey, look at this shirt. Yeah, girl.
So my question's for Katrina. When Nyssa releases Sara, do you think that Ghul punished her for it?
Oh, hell yeah.
My question is for Katrina. How do you think Nyssa would react to all the magical creatures
I think it would be hysterical. Like, I think I would just love to go. I would love Nyssa to go to Legends just to get reactions. Like, I think it would be so funny.
Thank you.
Praise be Bo.
Sorry. This question's for Katie. Who do you think Sarah's favorite one-night stand was that she had?
Listen, are you trying to start a war here?
Very much so.
I am trying to remember what all of them were.
They could tell you if you need any help.
Okay, I hear your guys' answer. Do you want to hear mine? I mean, I don't think Sara and Captain Cold ever actually slept together, so that can't be one.
Go for the chicken
It was like
wig.
the queen of. There was some queen that was pretty good. There was 2 queens actually. There was like Guinevere. There was Guinevere and then the Queen of France. I mean, I think the Kyler, Alex Danvers was the most like real one night stand where it was all awkward and stuff. But she was so awkward afterwards, so I feel like that makes Sara kind of like, that was maybe a bad choice. We got to work together, and she's being really weird about this. But
We've all been there. It really.
yeah, without the aftermath, I think that would probably be her favorite.
I'm too short. Hi. My question would be, since we're talking about Nyssa being legends, hopefully, how would she react with the information that Ava's a clone?
Share the love.
And then how would Sara react that Nyssa know that Ava's a clone?
My head hurts from that one.
I think I would just be like, hey, just don't use the C word. It's a sensitive subject.
All right,
Thank you. Okay, I think this is probably going to be our last question.
Thanks. Kaity, you've played Sara Lance for many, many years. When you were cast as her, did you know that she would be bisexual, and what was that conversation like for you, and how did you deal with that?
When I was cast, so I didn't even know what character I was going to be. Like, they had fake names on the characters, so I had no idea what I was getting into. And then when they told me, they were like, oh, it's going to be like the first version of the Black Canary, and I was like, cool. And I don't think we ever really got to, well, like, it wasn't like, hey, you know, we need to talk about this. Your character is going to be bisexual. Like, it wasn't, I don't really remember that. I think it was literally just like reading the script, and it was hoo-ha comes down, like, and then they make out. And it was like, cool. It was the same, like, I think Sara and Oliver's character, we never thought that, we were like, oh no, they're just friends, and then we get like a script and it's like, wait, we're making out? And I was like, oh, cool, okay, cool. Guess we're like, we're going always. I'm into it. It really was like a non-issue, a non-thing. It became more of a thing afterwards when I realized like how important it was for other people, like, to be able to see that and have that representation. I don't think I really realized that at first. At first it was just like, cool, like, she's interesting and she's expressing her sexuality. And then it wasn't until like kind of with the fandom where I was like, oh wow, this character actually this is really important. Yeah. Which was really cool. And now it's like Sarah's sexuality is one of my, favorite things about her. And I think it's what makes her like not only more interesting character, but just kind of powerful in terms of having that kind of representation on TV.
Thank you. And thank you to both of you for knowing how important that is and recognizing how important that is, because...
Is that Ava Sharp? Something about to go down?
Well, anyway, but thank you for recognizing how important that is to all of us, and we so appreciate what a wonderful job you've done with these characters. And thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys. I mean,
Thank
we are
you.
blessed to be allies and a part of this community, for reals. Like, so thank you for bringing us all in it and sharing your love with us.
Let's give it up for them. Thank you. Enjoy your day, ClexaCon.
I thought gonna sing down under the water until what? I'm gonna sing and I'm gonna sing until